and let's open up the terminal. So everything starts in code, everything starts with a CLI command. And so we need to do npx create React bricks app at latest. Now the CLI starts and asks us if we have a React Bricks account. You can very quickly create a free account on the React Bricks website. Now I already have an account, so address.
Sorry, Matteo, can you zoom in a bit with the text?
Yes.
Thank you.
Try. Okay. So let's create a new app. Let's call it Workshop React Paris. And then it's this package name is this one, the folder name is okay. Let's choose website and blog with Tailwind. React Bricks works with any CSS as we said, but let's start with this website with Tailwind. Now we can choose Next.js with the pages router, with the app router, Remix, or Gatsby. Since we want to use server components, we choose Next.js with the app router. Load some default content, let's say yes, so that we start with some pages already created for us just to see something and play a bit with React Bricks. And now the system is scaffolding, the CLI is scaffolding the project, installing all the dependencies. Let's hope that my line collaborates, and then it sets up a Git repository, and now it's doing all the APIs calls to create some pages with default content. Okay, now let's enter our directory. And first of all, let's open VS Code in this folder. And let's start the project with yarn dev, as usual, for a Next.js project. So now if we open our VS Code, we can see that it's a Next.js project with the app folder. We have a page, this Slug page. It's this catch-all page created by the CLI. And we have also this admin folder where the admin interface lives. So one important thing is that with React Bricks, the code is all in your repository. And you can host the front-end website wherever you want, together with the admin interface where your editors will log in to edit the content. So in this case, using the /admin of the website, you can rename it to whatever you want. An interesting part of the folder structure is the React Bricks folder. Here is where the React Bricks configuration lives. And in particular, we have our bricks of content. Before looking into it, let's open our localhost URL to have a look at what we created. Okay, and you see this is the website with the default content. Let's click on Edit Content. People in the waiting room. Okay. Sorry, there were two people in the waiting room. I wasn't looking at it, so I admitted them now. So for you, we just did a quick introduction to what is React Bricks, since we are creating a project with Next.js and the React Bricks CMS. We just scaffolded a new project with Next.js and the app router using the CLI. So we just launched the npx create React app at latest, and we scaffolded the new project with the Next.js and the app browser. So now we can enter the React interface to edit the content. We just log in. Okay. Here you see that we have the pages on the left. And when we click here, we can edit as if we were in Word or Pages. So welcome to React Bricks. React, where is? We can apply styles, in this case, the highlight, because this component here, this brick, defined that here we can just use the highlight. In this part here, I can use the bold style. And then you see that on the right, we have some props that we can change using sidebar control. For example, we can change the background color. If we go to this brick here, it's the same. We can apply styles, in this case, bold or link. I can click on an image and replace it from the library. So there is a complete digital asset manager with also the organization in folders. The organization in folder is a paid feature, but apart from that, you have everything. And or I can load from a splash or upload an image. Then we have the ability to have bricks inside of bricks. So in this example, I can add features 1, 2, 3, 4. And you see that here, these bricks inside of this brick with their own props. Also, in this case, this is a repeater. Here, I can change props like the columns number, while when I enter in this sub-item, I can choose, for example, that I want the icon or not. But everything that you see here on the right is defined in the React code of that brick. So let's create a new page and let's see how all this works in code. So let's create a page that we call workshop. Okay. And so when I click add your first block, you see I can choose one of these pre-made content blocks. These are content blocks created in Tailwind, already responsive, dark mode compatible. And you can use them just as a reference if you want to do something similar to this. But the first thing that you will do is create your own set of bricks that convey your corporate design or the corporate image of your customer. So the first thing that you want to do now is creating a brick of content. So let's create something which is new. We don't have it here, but we want to create another brick, which is visually editable to let our editors or our customers edit the website, edit over our React component. So if you go here in this bricks folder, you see the React Bricks UI folder is where all the bricks that the pre-made bricks are. And so here we have all the bricks that are in part of the React Bricks UI library of pre-made bricks. And here we have some custom bricks already created for us. Now we want to create a new theme of React Bricks, a new set of bricks. So let's create a folder, which is workshop. And here, let's suppose that we want to create a brick which is a text image, where we have the text on one column and an image on the other column. So let's create a new file that we call text image.tsx. React Bricks is written in TypeScript, so we use TypeScript everywhere. You see, we'll see all the autocomplete of TypeScript as we work with React Bricks. First thing, we want to import the types of React Bricks. Okay, and so now let's create a new React component. So say, const text image of type brick. We are creating a brick. This is a React component, and let's export default our text image. Okay, now we have some problem because this is not a functional component. You see a brick is there is the interface of Zoom. Let's hide these floating controls. So you see that a brick is just a functional component with a schema that we'll see what a schema is. But to be a functional component, we must return some JSX. So let's return an H1 with the hello world. So first requirement, this now is a React component. Second requirement, we want to add a schema. So let's say text image schema equals, and we need just two things: a name, so let's say workshop text image, and a label for when we add this brick. The label could be text image. Okay, now you see we don't have any more TypeScript errors. So this is our first brick, our hello world brick. Let's add it to the bricks that we can use. So we can go to this index, which exports all the bricks. And you see that the bricks are organized in themes. So let's create a new theme that we call workshop. Okay, let's call it workshop. And it has a category. We can categorize our brick. Let's create just one category, which is content. And now we want to import our text image. So text image from workshop, this one. Okay. So now let's go back to our editor. And if we click on add your first brick, now let's select our theme so that we don't have all of these bricks. So let's select workshop. You see now we have workshop and we have text image. If I hover, we have a preview. And if I click, we are adding our brick. If I click on the plus button, I can add another one. But this, you see, is just text. I cannot edit it because we are not using the visual editing of React bricks. Now it's just a brick that we can add, but it's a simple React component. So let's make this text visually editable. And so let's make it also a bit better, because now you see that it is against the margin. So let me add just a section from React Bricks UI so that it's a bit better, and also a container from React Bricks UI. Okay, so and let's put our H1 here, and let's make it more like an H1. So let's give some class, some Tailwind class. Again, I could use any CSS framework, but I like Tailwind. So in this case, we are using Tailwind. So let's say text PXL, font extra bold, and some margin, because we'll add something below, and we complete. Let's also add the text white for the dark mode. So now let's see. Okay, we see that now it's a bit better. It seems an H1, still not editable, and let's fix it. So from React Bricks, we import the text component. And now we want to use our text component. But first of all, let's define an interface for this brick so that we can define the props of this brick. So let's create an interface. I call it text image props. And here we want to add, let's say, title, which is of type text value from React Bricks. And now we can say that this brick is of type text image props. We can use this generic so that now we have the brick which is fully typed. And now we can so get our title. And let's use our text from React Bricks. So we have text. The text should have a prop name, title. And for if you are not using server components, that could be enough as just the prop name. When we use the server components, the React server components, we need also to specify the value, which is this title prop. And now we need a render function. So how should this text be rendered? So a render function where we get the children. It's just a React functional component, and we return our h1. So I copy and paste our h1. Of course, instead of hello world, we should take the children. Okay, so now let's see if this works. Okay, you see that now we have type a text, and if I write, I can type this text. We don't like the default placeholder, so let's say that we don't want type a text, but type a title instead. And so now we have type a title. And let's add a default content for this title. So when I add a new brick of this type, I want to have a default title. So in the schema, you can add get default props. This is a function that returns an object with the default props of these bricks. So we want to provide a title. You see that we have the correct typings. So we have autocomplete also here. And let's say that the title is a brick. Okay, now I didn't save, so it asks again to add a first brick. Let me reduce this interface. Okay, so now if we add a text image, you see that by default we have this title, which is this is a brick. Okay. Now I said that I wanted a text image, so let's add the image part. Very quickly, let's add a div. We can say that we do a grid with grid calls to, maybe let's make it responsive, so LG, grid calls to, and then with some gap, let's add a gap of 12, and inside this grid, we want to have two divs. One will contain our text. So on the left, we have our text. On the right, we want the image. So let's get the image component from React Bricks. And this image component will work a bit like the next image component. So in a bit different way, because when you upload an image with React Bricks, the image gets optimized at upload time. So we create all the responsive version on the server, and they are served from a global CDN. But you have all the optimization that you have with the Next.js image. In this case, this image is cross-framework. So if you take your bricks and you use them in a Remix project or a Gatsby project, they are cross-framework, while the image from Next is not. So for an image, well, first of all, let's add our image in the interface, which is of type image source. Let's get our image, and then the image has a prop name, like the text. In this case, let's say that it is image, and also because we want to use the server components, we need to pass the source, so our image prop as a source. Let's for an image, we can also add a max width. This is useful because the React Brick servers in this way knows that the maximum version that it has to create is 2 times the max width for the Retina displays. And then we can add the aspect ratio. If we want to fix the aspect ratio, we can say, for example, we want 4/3, so that our editors will be forced to crop the images with this aspect ratio. We are missing something. We are missing the alternate text. The alternate text will be provided by our editors, but this is just a fallback. So we can say fallback image. It's not the best, but let's do it this way. So now let's see what happens. Okay, you see that now we have this image here, and when I click, I can select an image. Let's select from Unsplash in this case. So let's search for mountains. Let's take this picture. You see we have every properties from Unsplash with the source, copyright, etc. Save and select. And you see that now our editor can crop, but just with an aspect ratio of 4/3. So let's save. And here we are, we have our text image. Let's add some rich text too. And let me just check if there is someone else who is waiting, but I think not, because I should receive a notification, I think. So let's add also a rich text. First of all, we take the rich text from React Bricks. And let's call this new prop description, which will be the type be text value as for the title. So we get the description, and let's add a rich text. So rich text. The rich text works like the text. So we have a prop name, which is description, and we will pass our value, which is the description. And now we have, as usual, our render function. So the render block. And the render block, in this case, create our render function. We want to create a paragraph. So we create a paragraph with the children. And this paragraph, let's add the class name of, let's say, text LG. And let's make it a bit gray than the title with some margin bottom. And let's be complete. Let's say that in dark mode it is white. Okay, perfect. So now we have our rich text. It's better to provide a default also for this rich text. So let's say that for the description, and here you see that we have the typings, so description, and let's say thick as a brick, if you like the Jethro Tull, or another brick in the wall, if you like Pink Floyd. I like both, so okay. So let's see what happens now. You see that we have this typed text. We didn't provide a placeholder for this description, and then here we can write. And I wanted to show you that here I cannot press the enter. So if I press the enter key, nothing happens. While here I can create multiple paragraphs. This is because on the text, we have a property which is multi-line, which by default is false for the text, while for the richer text, the multi-line by default is true, but we can choose to have multi-line false if you want. Okay, now this is a rich text, but is not very rich. This is next with the app folder. You see, we cannot apply any styles, essentially. So how can we enable the rich text features? We can provide allowed features. So allowed features is an array of features which come from types.rich text features. So you see we have bold, code, headings, italic, order list, unordered list, etc. Let's add, for example, bold and no, italic. And now, let me reload. I should save with our default, with our brick. Let me save the content so that I don't have to add this brick every time. And now when I click, you see that I can apply bold, I can apply italic, or both, of course. Now, I don't want the default B tag for the bold, for example. So let's see how I can customize this, because we have the render block for the whole whole paragraph, but I want also to be able to define how this B tag is rendered. What I can do is say render bold, and so I can customize now this B tag, because we can apply class name. Let's say text link 500. And so you see that now when I apply the bold style, the text is pink. So you can provide render functions for everything. Let's do something more interesting than the B tag, and let's see a link, how it works for links. This is typical. I want to allow our editors to add the link to the text. And so let's remove italic and instead add link. For the link, if you use Tailwind, you know that a link by default is not styled in Tailwind. So if we add a link, we will see nothing as an applied style. So we need to apply a render link function so that the link is visible. And so what should I return here? If I return a normal anchor, an A tag, this will not work very well for the internal links, because I will not leverage the link from Next.js in this case. And but this link would also bring to an external link some HTTPS link. So the best way is to use the link from React Bricks. Why? We have two advantages here, and now I explain them. So we create a link with the children, and of course a link needs an href. So let's get also href and also the target and rel to be complete. So here we say that the href is the href and also the target and also the rel, because when we set the target blank, for security reasons, the rel is set with the no opener. So what happens now? Well, this link is not visible because we didn't add any class. So let's add a class, let's say text sky 500, which becomes text sky 600 with the transition colors. Okay, so let's see what happens. Now let's add a link. You see, I can add a path or a URL. So let's say about us and apply. Oh, sorry, I need to reload because I didn't get the style. Slash about us apply. Okay. So you see that now we have our style, our sky color with the hover. The beautiful thing of the link from React Bricks is that when I am in the admin, I can click over it without triggering the link. So if I do the full screen preview, we have our cursor pointer that brings us to the link, but otherwise I can click and write here. So the other advantage is that if the href is a local link, some slash something, underneath React Bricks will use the local link, so the link by Next.js, while if it is an external link, it will use a normal external anchor. And so now we have a quite complete brick where our editors can create the title, they can create the text, we also rich text, they can add an image. And so, well, if you remember when I added bricks from the pre-made bricks, we have on the right, you see the preview image. So when I hover, I have the preview, but you already have a small image here on the right. It will be great to have an image also for our the component in our theme. So let's see how we can do it. To do this, we leverage the playground. Well, I stop just 1 second to see if there are any questions. Is there any question? No? Okay, if there is any question, let me know. Feel free to interrupt me. So now let's create a preview image using the playground. The playground is where you can see all of your design system. So if I do all themes, you see all of your components. If I limit it to the workshop, we can see just our text image. Here we can play with this brick. For example, let's add some text. Well, let's go to Lipsum and get some Lorem Ipsum text. Copy and paste. Okay, and let's do something like this. And now let's add an image so that we can get a beautiful screenshot. This time I go to the library because we already saved this image with the mountain. Save. And now there is this button, Get Component Screenshot. When I click Get Component Screenshot, now in my clipboard, I have a URL from React Bricks that we can add to the schema. So in the schema, I can say we have the name, we have the label, and the preview image URL, which is this string. Where is this image saved? You guess it, is saved in our media. So if I go to our media, now I have also this brick. And if I go to the editor, now let me reload. If we add a new brick, you see that now we have the preview image. Now, I don't suggest to have this URL from this application because we are in some way binding our design system to this application, and sometimes you want to reuse bricks across multiple websites. For example, the React Brussels website and the React Paris website are creating using RevBricks and they are sharing some of the bricks. So what I suggest to do is just to go here, download this image, let's save in the download, and then just copy from download, take this image and I put it inside my workshop directory. Really the best thing would be to create a new folder. Let's organize the things better. It's better to create a new folder for each brick. So let's say text image. Let's put our brick. Yes, update the imports and also its image inside the same folder. Rename it as preview. And then in our text image, what we can do is let's import, like we do in Next.js, we can import this image preview from /preview png. And so now we can use this in our preview image URL. We say image preview .source. Okay, so now it's self-contained. We have this folder where we have our brick and its preview image. Perfect. Let's see if it works. Still works. Okay, we still have our preview image. So there is a question by Panayotis.
Yeah,
Okay.
Matteo, the way that you showed us now, it's like it's saving us some disk space, or it doesn't matter.
Having the image in our folder is saving
Yes.
some disk space. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course. Yes, this preview image is not going to occupy too much space, but of course now I can go to media and I can remove it. You see that in the media you can also filter by image which are in use and images that are unused. And in this case, of course, this is an unused image. So we can just remove it if we like, because we have it saved in our space. So it's a bit more tidy. So it's better to do in this way, I think. So, well, now I'd like to show you how we can add the properties on the right to give some freedom to our users. For example, we have this text image. Let's say that we want our users to be able to choose if the image is on the right or on the left. So we want to use a sidebar control, what Rubrix calls a side edit prop. To do this, let's start from the interface, because we will need a new prop. So let's call it image side, and the image side could be left or right. We use the TypeScript union type. We take this image side, and then we can use this image side to conditionally render. Then we will see how this image side is what's the input of this image side. But let's start using this prop. So what we can do, we have two columns in our grid. So we can say that this first column, if we want the image on the left, this column become the last one. So we can apply in Tailwind is order last class that makes the first column the last one. So what I like to do when I want to apply classes conditionally is using the CLSX package. So it's like class names, the same. So let's import CLSX from CLSX. Let's put it for this one, which are local. Okay, so now what we want to do is apply a class name here, which is CLSX. And if you don't know how this library works, here you can provide strings, or you can provide, you can say if some variable is true, I apply a class, otherwise apply another class, or I can also use it with the object syntax. So I can say there is an object with a class that I want to apply if there is a condition which is true. In this case, I want to use this form. So we want to apply the class order last if the image side is left. Okay, perfect. But now we have to get this image side. So we need to add this side edit props to our schema. This is an array of controls, an array of props. And how a prop is, what has a prop is a name. So in our case, it is image side. This is the prop that we will receive on our component. And it has a label for the sidebar. So let's say image side, and it has a type. The type is, as usual, we have TypeScript here that helps us, is side edit prop type. And here we have something like the storybook knobs. So you have image, number, range, select, etc. And you can also create custom components. So if I select custom, I can provide my own component. So I can create a custom control for the sidebar. Now, in this case, I will do a radio button, I think. So let's use select. And for select, we have the select options. Select options. Afterwards, I will see how we can do all these much faster with the snippet plugin for VS Code. But now I prefer to do everything manually. Select options as a display, which is of types option display. So I can display select as selector, radio, or color. We want to select. And then we have the options. You see that we have options. We have also get options. This is very interesting because it can also return a promise. So it can be an async function to get values from an external API if we want. In this case, we just need simple options. An option is value label. Very, very easy. So left, and the label is left. And then we want also right, so we copy and paste, and we have the value right with label right. Perfect. So what happens? We have a sidebar control. We will get the value left or right on our image side property, on a prop. So we get this image side prop, and we use it to conditionally render, so to apply a class or not. So let's see if this is working. So let me reload. Oh, one thing, it's better to provide a default also for this prop because we didn't provide a default. So in our get default props, now you see that we have image side and image, which I usually don't provide defaults for images. You can do it, but and for the image side, we can provide our left or right. You see that everything is fully typed everywhere. So let's say that by default, the image is on the right. So let me remove this block and let's add a new one. So let's add our text image. Okay, you see that by default, the image side is right. If I click left, you see that we can switch the side. So this is how you can delegate some freedom to your users. So they will never be able to make this text read or Comic Sans unless we add a prop to let them do it. But we can say that they can choose the left or right side. Okay, and they can apply styles as we allow them to do it. Perfect. So now let's see. First of all, is there any question? No? Okay. So now let's create let's see how we can nest bricks inside of bricks. So let's say we have this beautiful brick here. What we could miss could be some call to action. So let's say we have our website with an image, a text, and we want something like get started or learn more, the two buttons. And these buttons could be bricks that we repeat inside of this brick. So we are going to create another brick, which is the button, and then we will add it as a repeatable brick inside of our text image. So let's create a new brick inside our workshop. We create a new folder, which is button, so that everything is well in order. So, and we add a new file, which is button.tsx. This time to scaffold the brick, I will just write brick. You see React bricks, TypeScript brick. This is because I installed the React bricks snippets plugin of VS Code. And so I can say brick. And I have a brick already scaffolded for me. Really, well, this name, I prefer to say WS workshop button in lowercase. And then this snippet at the moment is suppose that you are using the pages folder and not the server components. So you see that we are importing from rehabbricks/frontend. I need to change this with rehabbricks/RSC so that we get the ones for server components. You see that I changed this, and now the text has an error. Why has an error? Because as I told you, for the text, when you use server components, you need to also add a value with the prop. So the first thing that we need to do is let's add our text, the text for the button in our interface. So I prefer to call it button props, just personal preference. And so let's add a button text, which is a text. So as usual, our text value. And so we get the button text from the props. And so this text should have a value, which is button text. The prop name should also be button text. The placeholder should be, it's a button, let's say action. And well, you see an error in get default props. This is TypeScript, which is working for us because now we don't have title anymore. We have button text. And so let's say button text, and let's be classic. Submit. This is a button. So okay, if we add this button in this way, it's not like a button, it's just a div with a span inside. So let's make it more like a button. Let's say that we have some paddings. So let's do something like inline block with some vertical padding, a bit of horizontal padding, round full, text white, center. Okay. And well, let's add the transition color. And what we want this button, what color we want, let's use the sky again. So sky 500 with an over of sky 600, something like that. Okay, so let's add this new brick to our bricks. So we go to the index, and now we want to add our button. So button, not from Bricks UI, but from our workshop. I click, and now we have a new brick added to our bricks. So if we go into the editing interface, and I click add your first block here, you see that we have a text image, and we have a button. If I click on button, we have this button with the default text, which is a submit, and I can write here. So this is editable because we have a text inside of our button. Really, it's not a button at the moment, it's a div. So if I go here in full screen, you see I cannot click anything. So let's make this a link. So let's suppose that this will be a link to a page, it's the get started or learn more. We'll go to pages of our website. So let's make it a link. So let's use a link from Rehabbricks. Let's import link. We used it before in the for the rich text in the render link. So a link needs an href. So let's add a prop, which is button path, which is just a string in this case. What we want to do is this path to be editable using the sidebar control. So let's take this button path here, button path, and this button path will become our href. Okay. So I said we want it as a sidebar prop. Oh, I want to show you one thing for the snippets. Now that if I want to use the snippets, if I click on, I want to add a new text, I just click on text, and they have a new text scaffolded for me. If I want to add an image, I can just say image, and they have an image scaffolded for me. And so for the side edit props, it's the same. I can just say side edit prop, and they have a side edit prop. The name should be, we said button path. The label is, let's say, path or URL. And the type is text. It's okay, it's just a simple text. And we use it as the link. So now let's see if this works. This is always Next.js with the app router. So let's add our button, okay? And you see that now we have this path or URL here. So let's say /about us, and let me save. If I go to the preview, you see that we have the pointer, and well, it's small, but I can see in the bottom of the screen that it is going to the About Us page. Okay, so now we have this button, and well, we want to add this button to our text image. So when I add a text image, I want to be able to say add a button and then add another button. So what we need to do is add a repeater inside the text image. So we go to text image and we add a new type of visual component, which is repeater from React Bricks. Sorry, this is. So let's add the repeater of the buttons below our rich text. So here we want to repeat the buttons. So the repeater needs a prop name, let's say buttons, and of course let's add this to our interface. So because now we have the buttons also, which is a repeater item, a repeater item. A repeater item array. Okay, and so this repeater now needs also the items because we are using the server components. So we need to take these buttons from our props and pass them to the repeater. So the items are the buttons. Okay, so now we have our repeater. But which component should be repeated inside of this repeater? We need to specify what we want to repeat here because we don't want our editor to be able to add anything inside of this slot. So we use the repeater items of React Bricks. The repeater items is just an array of bricks that we can repeat inside of these bricks. In this case, we want to repeat just one. So we see name, and this should be the same name that we have in the repeater. So this matches this name here. So we are saying this is what we are repeating in that slot. The name is button, and what do we need? The type. We need to say what is the item type. The item type, if you remember, is the name of the button brick, which is WS button. Okay, we are good to go. Now, if we add our text image component, so let's add it here, text image, you see that on the right we have add a new button. So there is just one thing. If we need to add more than one button, we need some sort of flex to arrange these buttons. So let's do it. We can we could provide, we can just wrap the repeater with a div with a flex. If we want to be sure that this div is rendered only when there is at least one item, what we can do is leverage the render wrapper of React. In this way, this wrapper div will be rendered only when there is at least one item. So we can say we have the render wrapper is a function which takes the items and wraps the items. So it returns a div items and slash div. And this is the div where we want to apply some flex. Let's say flex, let's put some gap. So for example, let's say gap 4, some margin from the text before. And so now let's see what happens. Let me reload. So let's add button. Then I click again, and I have another button. I click again. Okay, it's better to. So now, how can we fix this with the CSS? Anyone? We can add a flex wrap. So we add flex wrap so that they go on new lines. And each of these is a brick. So I can click on it and I can say this submit is learn more. And I can give a slash learn more, for example. And this maybe is get started. And I can give a path to this. So I think that it's not beautiful to have these many buttons, to give this freedom to the user to add so many buttons. So I would limit them to 2, the usual 2 call to actions. So you can just say max 2. If we say max 2, now let's add again our brick. Let's add it here. And now I add a button, I add another button, and you see that now the add button has disappeared because we can add at max 2 buttons. So now I think that it's not great that the user can add this button by itself. So you see, when I click add, I can add a text image and I can add this button, but this button is something that I don't want by itself. I just want it to be repeatable inside of our text image. So what I can do is I go to the button and I say the schema that I want to hide it from the add menu. So hide from add menu is true. If I do in this way, now when our editor wants to add, I always forget to save. I should set the auto save on. So when you see, when I click to add, I have text image, but I don't have the button anymore. The button is still there as a brick, but is usable only inside of our text image. So you see that it's quite fun. We are creating these bricks in just with React code, and we can set all the constraints that we want for our users. And so let's make these buttons a bit funnier. Let's see how we can work with colors. So let's say that I want the button to be blue or purple, for example. First of all, what we need to for our editors to be able to change the colors. Of course, we will need to have some sidebar control. So we need a sidebar control where they can pick the color. It will be blue or purple. So let's do it. We want to add a new prop, which is, let's say, background color of type eye color, and we will take this BG color here, and let's immediately add the side edit prop. So we created a new side edit prop. We use the autocomplete. This is BG color. The label is color. The type is select, because it's a select, and then the select option, we can auto-complete them. So select options, this one. Okay, we want to show them as color this time, not select or radio, but color. For a color selector, the value as a constraint. The value should be an object with at least a color prop. Why? Because we need to show the colored ballet that the user will click to select the color. So we need a colored ballet. So for the sky, well, you need to trust me. The sky color is this one, is 0. 5E9, and consider that we are using Tailwind. So we want also to apply a class name. So I would like to, color is necessary, this key, but I would like also to add class name here. So let's add our class name, the class name that we need, which is this BG Sky 500 over, not Sky, over BG Sky 600. So let's copy this part. Let's remove it from here because we want it to be variable. So we have it in this way, and the label is blue. So here is our first color, and then we want to add a new color, which is the purple. So we say purple instead of sky, purple. And for the color, let's get the purple color from Tailwind. It is a 855F7. Okay, so now we have our sidebar control, our color picker. We have our prop in the, we are getting our prop. We just need to conditionally render, so to apply the color. First of all, our BG color, well, what can we do is using, as usual, our beloved CLSX. So we get CLSX from CLSX. And so the class name now is a string CLSX of this string. But we want to apply another string, which is the proper color. So we can say BG color dot, oh, we have color. We don't have the autocomplete for class name. Why? Because this is type color, but we need to extend the color with our class name. That is something that we added. So let's say that we have also class name, which is a string. So now if you go to BG color, we have also class name. Okay, perfect. So it should work now because we have this class name, which is BG Sky 500 or BG Purple 500. And so clicking on the color picker, we should be able to change the color. Let's see if this is, oh no, we have an error. Why? Because this BG color for the button that is already there, we don't have a color. And since we are there, let's add also a default, a default for the BG color. So let's say that the default is the sky. So we copy the value for the sky so that we have a good default. So now this button is not visible because it was before we added the color prop, so now it is white. Let's remove and let's add a new text image and here a new button. And so we see that it is by default blue. If I click on the button, you see that we have the color. Now we have purple and it works. You see, I click on blue, I click on purple, and we are changing the color. So we have the path and we have also this color picker that has only the colors that we want. So our editor cannot create a yellow button if we don't allow them to create a yellow button. And so now this brick is very complete. I'd like to show you how we can also validate the props, because in this path, I could write something like this, which is not a valid path or URL. So let's see how we can validate the props. I go to the button, and in my schema where I have the button path here, we can add the validate function. So validate, this is a function that, as you can see, gets the value for these props, for this prop, and all the props to perform cross-field validation. In this case, it's easy. We want just to validate this value. So we can say value starts with, let's see, value starts with, to be valid should start with a slash if it is a path, or value should start with HTTPS, for example. Otherwise, let's return an error, which is invalid link, invalid URL, let's see. Okay, now that we have this validate function, let me reload. I click on the button, and you see that we have this error, invalid URL, because the empty case is invalid because it doesn't start with the slash or HTTPS. If I write something in this way, it's invalid. At React Bricks, in the Rubrics configuration, we can configure Rubrics so that it will not allow our users to save if we have invalid values. By default, you can save, but as I hover, you see that warning, at least one block has validation error. So we have this warning that we are saving, but there are validation errors. You can also prevent the save button to be clicked if you want. So let's add something which is okay. So about us, and now I can save. We can also conditionally render a sidebar control based on the value of other controls. So let's say that, for example, we can have a checkbox which is with the image, and then we can add a sidebar control with the image. We want to show it only when the checkbox is true. An example of a real case. In this case, let's say that we want to show the color only if the path is at least 3 characters long. It's a stupid thing, but just to show how it works. So here we can add a show function, and we say show, we get the props, and we say I want to show the color only when props dot, you see TypeScript also here, props dot button path dot length is more than 2 characters. Okay, so now now let me reload, sorry. I click on the button, and you see that the colors disappear. So when it is at least 2 characters, the colors appear. So this is a way to create complex interfaces in the sidebar. So, well, I think that we have seen many things. I would not like to add too many. Just one thing that I'd like to show you is that you can, the editors can save props. Yes, please, Panagiotis.
Is there any way on your validation there to show on the user some validation message? So it's less than 2 characters, and then on the right sidebar, you show that you need to add more than 2, 3 characters.
Well, in this case, this is
yeah, if you go just the slash, then it disappears, yeah.
Yes, in this case, it's not a validation, it's just that they want to show a prop when the other one is this way. For the validate function, really, yes, this validate function can return false, which means it's not valid, true, which means it's valid, or a string, which means it's not valid, and the string is the error message. So you see that in this case, we say invalid URL. So when if I write something which is invalid, you have this invalid URL. And so you can provide whatever you want. So please enter a valid URL, for example. So you can provide the validation message. If I reload now, it's you have a better error. So you see, please enter a valid URL. Okay.
I have another question
Yes.
on the repeater there. Do you have any like global configuration for those bricks? So based on some criteria, they can change. If you have a, let's say, from a country that you want to show 3 buttons, and you will set up it in a configuration file somehow in order to show 1 button to one country and 3 buttons to another country, let's say.
Well,
It's like a global configuration on top of everything.
Oh, yes, I see. Well, really, what you will need to do in this case would be to create two different bricks. You can extract the render part, the React component, you can extract as a component, and then create 2 different bricks, one which has the max2, the other which has max3, and create 2 page types, because at page type level, you can define which bricks can be used in each page type. So for example, you see here in pages, we can use any brick. If I go to blog, to a page of type blog, here I can use just some of the bricks, which are really not in our workshop theme, but this one, which are the blog, the blog brick, the ones that make sense for a blog. So at page type level, I show you page types undefined here. You can define multiple page types, and at page type level, you can define which blocks are allowed. So you can do you could do in this way, for example, to have two page types and use different bricks, one with the 2 and the other with the 3 buttons. This is the unique way that comes to my mind this moment. So, but it's possible.
Okay, thank you.
Let me show you the stories. Do you see these? Because you have the page, the block, and stories. Let's see the page and stories. Page is the properties for the whole page. So you have visibility, published or draft. You have the schedule publishing, so you can schedule in the future. Of course, for a publish, it doesn't make sense. It has to be draft. You can schedule in the future. And let's save. Now, if I open the editorial calendar, you can see that workshop will be published on the 27th. You can also make sure that your website is rebuilt when the schedule publishing is triggered, because in the settings of React where you define the deploy hooks. So let's say that you are using Vercel or Netlify. So let's say https vercel.com/123. Our deploy hook, which is of type post, you can choose to trigger the hook on schedule publishing. So if you are not using server-side rendering, but static generation, and now I save, if here I said that for this page should be published on the 27th at 1 a.m. I should not be there during the night to go here and click, let me reload, so that we have the button, the active button. You see now the active button because I set the deploy hook. I don't have to, our editor should not go here at 1 a.m. and click the button, but the hook will be called by React bricks as soon as the schedule publishing is triggered. Then we have the page attributes, and an interesting thing is the SEO. If I click SEO, we have the slug, title, description, we have the preview here, open graph, and with the proper aspect ratio, so that if your editor insert images here, they must be cropped with the correct aspect ratio, also for Twitter card. And then there is the schema org. Schema org really is only on paid plans. Now, As soon as created the app, my colleague Dario upgraded it to a paid plan, so I can show you also this thing. But you see, this is very interesting because we implemented the full schema.org semantic data. So we have article, for example, you have, I don't know, event, and you can set attendance mode online, so stream URL offline. You can add tickets with all the value of the tickets up to the recipes. There is everything. We implemented the full schema.org. So it's great also from an SEO point of view. Instead, what is these stories? Let's say that our editor want to save the brick in this configuration, where there is this button with get started, for example, and this is a brick this way. I can say stories, save story as, and this is one button, save story. Now, if I go to another page, let's go to this pricing page. I add a new brick of our workshop text image, and I can go to stories and say, I don't want the default, I want one button. I see the preview, I see as I click. And so you see, I can click one button and I have the default, I have this story with the button and the exclamation marks. So this is a way to create a sort of cookie cutter so that they can reuse the configuration of a brick across multiple pages. If you want to instead to have a single source of truth, so let's say that you have a call to action that you want to use across different pages, but you want to change it just once and have the change applied everywhere, because here it's just really a cookie cutter, so I can change this button and then not changing the one from the workshop page. I just reuse the same brick, the same properties in another brick. Instead, what I can do is also use the embeds. So let's say that here in the home, I want to add an embed block. So let's go to all themes, embed page, and I can embed our, workshop is not published, so I cannot choose it. So let's make it visible. It's not a draft, but published. Let's do in this way, save. And let's go back to our home page. I click here, embed. And let me check why I cannot see the workshop. Let me check. Oh, what's the slug of this? Why? There should be a reason, but it doesn't come to my mind this moment. Bad. So let's say that, here it is, workshop. So let's embed workshop here. So I click workshop, I save, and you see that we have the workshop page inside of this page. And I cannot click here, I cannot edit anything, because this is really a single source of truth. If I change the workshop page and I save, I have the change immediately affected also on the home. For these sort of bricks, which are, let's say, fragments, the best thing is to declare them as entities. So I can create pages also under entities. And this is used, for example, for the header, the footer, which are shared across the whole website. But I can also add, for example, call to actions. I can have a call to action and embed it inside of the pages, so that when I change the call to actions once, I'm changing it across all the pages that are embedding that brick. This is the way to reuse content across pages. So for the stories, I'd like to show you that you can also create stories in code. So very quickly, let's say that, let me go to the playground and let me add two buttons. One, length. I am calling length in this validation in this show, but I should be sure that there is the button. Okay, so let me add 2 buttons. One, 2, and one is slash about us, and it's purple, and the other is slash home, and it's blue. And let's save these as a story. So this is a story code. I want to our user, not a story that is defined by the editor, but in our design system, I want to define this story because it is important in our design system. So I can just copy the current props here, copy. I can go in the code for the text image. I can say I add a story. So in the stories array, I add a story, which is an ID, which is, well, let's say 2 buttons, and the name, which is 2 buttons, and I can add the props that I just copied. Okay, so we have the props, and so now I define the story. And what I can do is also to say that this story should be shown as a brick. So I say show as a brick true. Now what happens is when I go to the editor and I click the plus button, let's go to our theme, which is workshop. Okay, we have the text image and the 2 buttons, which is already, you see the preview. We can create the preview also for this. Now I didn't do it, but from the playground, I could have clicked the get screenshot, because also for a story, I can provide the preview image URL. So in this way, you can have, for example, a hero unit that it's interesting to have it either in dark or white mode, and you can have it as a brick for your editor so that they can quickly add this story. This is, for example, something that we did for the Rebrix UI. We have this hero unit, which can be this or this one, but it's the same brick, or these are just 2 stories of the same brick. So, well, I think that we covered many things. I just show you that how you can invite your editors. When you're ready, you created all of your design system. You can invite editors, and let me invite Dario at reactbricks.com as an editor. Let's say that he can create, he can aid. Let's give him all the permission here. We cannot add approved pages because we don't have the approval workflow active in this moment. And they send an invitation. Now Dario receives an email and he will accept the invitation, so that they show you also the collaboration, how it works when you have multiple users working on the same page. Meanwhile, I show you the webhooks. I already show you where you can set the webhooks, the languages. So let's add the Italian language. Okay, and I show you that now if I go to the editor and let me reload, you now have an interface with 2 tabs. So I can choose English or Italian. And let me click on Italian. You see, create a new translation. Create the Italian translation. Yes, create translation. It will get the content from the default language, but now I can change the text, and now it is completely independent. In this, for the Italian market, I can add, for example, a new brick, which is not there in the English translation. So translation is built in, and Another thing, you can create custom roles, but this is an advanced feature. You can create multiple content environment, so an environment for the devs to test things without affecting the production content environment. So it's not the webhook where you can have the production and staging, which is where you are the webhook that you are calling. Here is really different content environments. Yes, Panagiotis?
Hello, Matteo. About the previous point on the translation, so those translations are acting as an independent page, so the Italian page can have different layout from the English one.
Yes.
Completely. Okay.
Yes, it works in the US way because sometimes you want to have different properties or some different bricks for another
Yes, because
localization.
some text on the localization are more text than others, so it makes sense.
Yes. Okay. We have approval workflow. Okay, that we don't have this permission. Maybe Dario can add this permission too. Okay, and then the change history. Here you see everything that we did on the pages, and you see I have the go back button. I can view the changes, which is like a git diff log. It opens in a window like a diff git, so you can see what was changed, and we can go back in time. So if a user did something that they delete a page, you can go back and recover it, for example. You can also backup and restore all of your content. So you can request a backup. There is a queue. After a few seconds, you will receive an email. So you can go here and download a complete JSON with all of your files and the JSON representation of the content that you can restore by dragging it here. And now let me go to approval workflow. Let me load. Okay, now we have this approval workflow, which is an add-on. It's quite an enterprise feature. So you can enable to have a working copy. So that when you are working on content, even if you save, if another user will deploy, your change will not be immediately deployed because maybe you want to save, but you are in the middle of an editing and the content is not ready. So in this case, you have to commit the change before it could be before it gets deployed in production. And with the full approval, when you change the content, you have the working copy, then you commit, it is a merge request, and then a user with the approval permission can approve the content for it to be merged in production. So it's very, very complete. So, last thing that I will show you is the collaboration. So Dario now is accepted our invitation. So you see that Dario logged in. So in the header, we see that we have me and Dario. Now, if Dario comes to this page, we will see also his avatar. And meanwhile, okay, you see the avatar of Dario. Now I change something in the page, I click, and you see that I have Matteo Frana is editing. So now I'm editing, Dario is prevented from editing this page, but let's see the opposite. So now let's go back to this page. So I release the lock, I go back, and now Dario starts editing the page. Okay, you see Dario started editing the page and you see on the right, page locked. If I click, nothing happens. The page is locked by Dario, who is editing the page. So now we know that Dario is editing, we cannot edit. If we really need to edit the page, we can force unlock and take control. So let's do it, force unlock, take control. Of course, we are losing the changes that Dario was doing. If we really need to, we can force unlock, but we have this pessimistic lock mechanism that makes also very clear who is doing what in the log. So instead of the interleaved editing, we see that for corporate and enterprise use cases, it's better that every edit is well defined and you can have it in the log and know who did what. And so we have this pessimistic lock mechanism. So, questions? Is there any question? No? So, well, I think no, I think that we covered much. There are many things that we could see because there is the possibility to create custom fields on the page types to have Rubrix work also like headless CMS, where you can define custom fields which are edited in a sidebar for the page at page level. We can get external content, like, for example, here I can add a Pokemon. Let's add, oh, sorry, I have to reduce this. Let's add from all themes the Pokemon. You see, I have this Pokemon where I can say Charizard, for example. I save, and now I'm getting external data here. So you can imagine that I'm getting data from Shopify, for example. So you have a brick which has some parts which are editable, and this could be the add to cart part where I want the image coming from Shopify. So something which cannot be touched by our users. And how it works, I show you very quickly this Pokemon brick in Rubrix UI, just to give an idea. No, it's not in Rubrix UI, it's in the custom here. So you see that I can define a get external data function in my schema, and what you return will be merged on the prop of the brick, so that I can use it to render. And this call is not done at client side. This is done server side. So with the server component, it will be done on the node side. So everything is SEO optimized. Rubrix will call this get external data function when it builds the page. So this is, for example, how the Bera shop used the Rubrix. This is a luxury commerce in the in UK, and some data comes from their headless commerce, and some other data are edited in a visual way by their editors. So you can have this brick which gets some data from, in this case it is Swell, but it could be Shopify or anything, and some other data is from Rubrix, so edited in a visual way. So, well, we got a raffle also for tickets. So I think Ayman is there is no one from the organization in the chat. No. So we have one ticket for React Athens. And so I think that Panayotis could be the most interested in these tickets. So I think it could make sense to give it. It is the CityJS conference in Greece. So if
absolutely, it's nearby for me.
okay, perfect. So we'll give you a ticket for CityJS Athens Panayotis. And then it's for the other three people, we I think we can use something like name wheels to choose the other two tickets, because we have a ticket for React Brussels, and then another one. Dario, can you help me?
Yes, London.
Ah, okay, CityJS London. So
Yes.
let's do in this way. Just 1 second. I discovered this tool this evening. So wheel of names, names.com. Let me check out. So, okay, let's add Andrea and Davide and Jeremy. Okay, and so the first will be for React browsers. So I click to see who wins a ticket for React browsers. Okay, so Jeremy, you win ticket for React browsers.
Thank you.
And so then we have a ticket instead for CityJS London. Okay, to Andrea. And then Andrea and Davide, if you work for the same company, you can choose, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
So may I take the names so that I can communicate them to Ayman. So Panayotis Georgiou for Athens, and then Jeremy Madar for React Brussels. Of course, if you cannot be there in person, I think it's possible to ask the organization to have an online ticket instead. And to Andrea, the city. Andrea, what's this? Oh, okay, perfect. Lomuscio, CityJS London, ticket for CityJS London. Okay, perfect. Well, if you have any question, I give you my email address, so, and my Twitter handle. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions. If you start using GrabBricks, I suggest you to use to follow the tutorial, so the step-by-step tutorial that you find on the website here. So it's a step-by-step with gamification. So you answer question, you gain points, and at the end, if you reach enough points, you have also a prize. So if you follow this tutorial, it's about 2 hours, and you will learn all the basics. Some is what we already saw, but you see also how to deploy a website on Vercel or Netlify, how to invite editors. And well, just a note, this is not for the server components. So there is a note that says that if you use server components, you need to have a look at the reference for server components. But today we already saw how it works with React server components. Well, so thank you. And well, feel free to write me. And also, if you will start, if you have a customer or for your company, you would like to use it for your website, feel free to contact me, and we can see together how we can shape the best possible content solution for you or your customers. Thank you.
Thanks for the workshop, Matteo.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Thank
you.
Too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.